The Commonwealth Games Federation is reportedly seeking hundreds of millions in compensation as the fallout from Victoria's shock cancellation grows. The state opposition has referred to the matter to the Victorian Auditor General's Office for investigation. It's demanding to know how a $2.6 billion estimate tripled in just over a year. Victorian opposition leader John Pesutto joins me now. Good morning to you. Well, we've found out that the timeline was way too ambitious for the government, for Daniel Andrews' government, to take this on board in the first place. Should it have been done in the first place?
Absolutely not, Shervo, and thank you for having me on. This is a complete debacle. The Com Games were hunted for by the Andrews government. Daniel Andrews is lying, I regret to say, to the Victorian people and the Australian people, Shervo. He's pretending that the Games were foisted on Victoria. They went out hunting for it in 2021. There was no business case to back it up, Shervo. They locked Victorians into something it now turns out we could never afford. And the reason we're not running the Games ultimately, Shervo, is, as our viewers nationally may now know about Victoria, we're broke down here under the Andrews government. We're broke, we can't run it, and heads will have to roll on this.
Well, 12 months ago, I mean, financially things weren't far different for the government at that point. How did they get the numbers so wrong, to go from just over $2 billion to almost $7 billion?
Yeah, Shervo, because it was a con. It was all a con. It was done in the lead up to the 2022 election without any kind of business case, no costings that were thorough and comprehensive. He's locked Victorians in now to potential, damages and compensation, which, Matt, in our view, our early sort of estimates would have it in excess of potentially $1 billion. So it's a lot of money we're going to have to pay for no reason other than Daniel Andrews wanted an excuse to put before the Victorian people at the last state election last year.
If you were in government, would you do it, and how much would you pay to do it to host the Commonwealth Games?
So look, if I had been in the position of Premier last year, we would have looked at it, and if it were possible to do it in the realm of the costs that, say, Gold Coast and Birmingham were able to do it, they were each able to do it for under $2 billion. Now, there might have been some escalation in there. That would have been an acceptable price. But if we couldn't afford it, we should never have bought it. And that's what Daniel Andrews went out and did without a business case. And his Deputy Premier, Jacinta Allen, who's primarily responsible and should lose her job over this. This is a debacle, not just financially, Shervo. This has humiliated our state here in Victoria. And it's embarrassed Australia and made us, if you like, a country now that's going to have to work harder to secure international events because of this debacle.
And just a little bit of sympathy would be nice for the athletes particularly, and those regional areas that were banking on hosting something like this. John Pesutto, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, Shervo.